Hey everyone, Keenan Gray here from DyeStat.com, bringing you an exciting edition of DyeStat Discussions. A big week in collegiate cross country this Friday from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the 38th Annual Roy Griak Invitational. And one of the athletes competing this week is none other than one of the top Gopher athletes that'll be at that race this weekend is Erin Reidy from the University of Minnesota, a senior this year for the Golden Gophers, and just recently announced that they were ranked fourth in the Midwest region in the USTFCCCA regional rankings. Erin, a privilege to have you on here. Just talk about the excitement that there is within, the Minnesota program to have another Roy Griak Invitational race. It seems like this is always a big one for the program.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is a big race for us. It's on our home course. Um, there's a lot of energy surrounding that. The atmosphere is so great. There's so many great teams, and we know that there's other like nationally caliber ranked teams there. So we're really excited to see what we got. And um, we did have a younger team last year and that more build year, and now that we're coming into our own, we're really excited to see what we can do this week.
Again, Friday, the Roy Griak Invitational will be broadcasted on runnerspace.com for the first time. And it seems like for a couple years, like this meet was not broadcasted on any platform. So this is going to be a pretty big deal for the University of Minnesota. Like how excited are you guys to, kind of just showcase this course and, just show the country what Minnesota, but also what this course has to offer?
Yeah, so I was actually from Illinois in high school, and we used to come up and do this race. And so I've had this long history of being a part of this course and seeing what it's like and seeing what being a gopher was before I even was one. And I'm really excited for the other teams to experience what it's like to be on this course. I would say it's a bit challenging just given the random hills that we have. So I'm very excited to see how people will do, as well as how they challenge themselves and each other.
Let's talk about last year. This group, just kind of a rebuilding year, a lot of freshmen. You were a junior, a couple of sophomores. What did you kind of take away from last year as a group and just, building upon what you guys maybe were building for the future and kind of looking ahead, maybe potentially?
Yeah, so coach has always taught us that we need to have the right balance on the pendulum. So for us, I think what would happen is that we would be so together on easy runs, long runs, that we were all not doing what we individually needed to do. And I think we've realized that a lot this year. And so, yes, we still have the togetherness and camaraderie, etc. But now we can do it in a way that we're pushing each other to go farther, go faster, um, etc. And so I think at least that's what we've taken away from last year. And that almost like a chip on our shoulder because every race we kind of felt like with we there's the bar and we were just below it. So we always want to do better. And I think we've realized this year what that actually means. So we're really excited to see what we can tweak every race just to put us higher and higher towards those goals.
With a team like last year, when you're young, there are growing pains.
Hmm.
There were moments last year where it was really good. And there were moments where it's like, okay, yeah, we have some things to work on. One of the really good things last year is you guys got fourth in the Midwest region last year. I mean, that's something to be super proud of, especially like I said, it was a young group. You yourself got 29th, just a couple of spots off from all region. Kind of just take us through what that race was like for you guys and the momentum builder it seemed like it built going in not just the outdoor season, but for this upcoming season.
Yeah, so last fall, I would say our Big Ten performance was not something that um, we really like to talk about. So we had a giant chip on our shoulder there going into regionals because at that point we were like, you know what, let's just send it, let's see what happens. And we were excited to get fourth. We obviously would like to do better. Um, and I think any team would like to do better. But I think what we learned from that race is that we had more fun just being like, let's just go out there, see what we can do as a group and challenge ourselves on that course. I don't think any of us had been to Oklahoma before. So we were like, oh, this is a new experience, a new realm, if you will, to be in. So we were excited to take part in that course. And then I think just having the results of the season carried over into our track season. And like I was saying, we had a giant chip on our shoulder, and people really started to click with the training, and even the little things. So, like nutrition, sleep, iron, really being aware of those things and making sure that we're getting that 1% better every day.
Myself, I have been to Stillwater. I know what that course is like there. Do you feel like because there are challenges with the Roy Griak course, that that kind of prepared you guys for such a challenging course in Stillwater?
Yeah, I would say I think, like, at least for me personally, like I have, and people that are also around my age, we've had number of courses. We've had Notre Dame that's super flat, and then you go and we have Griak, which is, like you were saying, prepares us for those longer, grindier hills. Um, so that experience is pretty good. In terms of being younger, I think because we are starting so early on this Roy Griak course, because it is one of our first big races that we're going to have, I think it's really going to mentally prepare everybody. I think of it, at least in terms of, if you give me the really hard thing first, it almost makes other things easier. Not that it is easier, but um, it definitely feels that way.
I'm never going to be able to say I was a Division 1 runner, but I ran it one time just to get the feel of it.
Hmm.
My calves and hamstrings were burning after that course in Stillwater. So I completely understand what you guys went through and all that. Yeah, not racing it necessarily, but I understand. It seemed like again, you guys were prepared for that and it led to a good result. With that being said, then we saw positive stuff in the spring from yourself. I mean, second in the Big Ten in the 1500. I mean, that's something that you don't take for granted. How happy were you about that performance that day?
I was ecstatic. I honestly didn't think that that would happen, but I knew what I needed to do to make my team successful. And so, like, we had our shirts on that said it's about the team, and I like to think that I live by that. Um, and I tried to do that the entire season, and just really enjoy myself. I think last season was about reminding myself why I love running, and that's why it was so much more emotional and momentous for me, just because, like, I was able to get those goals and do better than I thought I ever could, by just like having that mentality of having fun.
And probably to maybe top that, you won the Drake Relays 1500. I mean, this has been a place that has hosted U.S. championships, has had world-class athletes compete there. And despite, battling tornado warnings that whole entire week, you got to come away with a Drake Relay little flag. Like how cool was that?
Oh, that was so exciting. It was funny. So I actually ran, um, at that point in the season, I was very frustrated because I was running 420s and I couldn't get under that 420 mark. Um, and Coach Hop will say, we're like, it's so close, it's right there, we know it. And I ended up running it home on Wednesday before Drake Relays. And I finally got that. I believe it was 416. And so we were super excited, and there was so much energy from Wednesday that carried on, later into that weekend for Drake. Um, I'll tell you this, I definitely did not think that I would be walking away with a flag, but I remember telling my parents and coach, I was like, it'd be really cool if I did. Um, and when I finally did, um, get on the line and realize where I was in the race, and I was like, I feel pretty good. Like, I'm pretty confident in my kick and the position that I'm in. Like, I'm gonna go for it. And it was so exciting to finish and be like, oh my gosh, I actually get to be like one of the champs here. Like, and Drake does a great job at celebrating, um, their champs. So I was very, very honored.
Be completely honest though, did you run faster because of potential tornado in the area and you're trying to get out there as quickly as possible?
Maybe a little bit. I love, like, listening to the song, like, Thunderstruck, and that kind of made me go faster because I was thinking about that song, and I was like, "Oh, geez, like, Thunderstruck could actually happen to me."
It certainly was the case. You got the win, but also get the heck out of there as quickly as possible so you can get away from a tornado possibility. But
Yeah.
looking back at last year as a junior, so many good things happen in the fall and then great things happen in the spring. What was like the biggest takeaway you had just between I guess 3 seasons you count indoor as well, but like there were just so many things that happened for you that last year.
I think the biggest takeaway was, like I was saying, is that you just need to have fun and remember why you're doing this. I tend to be super self-critical of myself, and you need to have that balance, if you will, of being like super challenging with yourself as well as like, hey, you get to wake up and race today. Like that's pretty cool. Not everybody gets that opportunity to be that D1 collegiate runner as well as be in the Big Ten, which I think is going to be super exciting this year with just how new it is. Um, and having those connections with not only my own team, but other teams as well, I think has just really put me in a good position um, to be excited and like push myself to be that better runner and better person.
Well, speaking of new, not just because it is a new season, but it's new everything for the Big Ten Conference this year. I mean, we're bringing in 4 new teams this year from the West Coast: Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA, amping it up basically, not just in cross country, but on the track as well. Kind of going into the summer, was that kind of got on your guys' mind, just knowing it's like, all right, we got these 4 powerhouse teams coming over from the West Coast. It's like, oh, geez, we really have to ramp it up this summer in the cross country realm.
Yeah, I would say our coach, like I was saying a little bit earlier, about 1% better. Um, that was Matt Bingle that said that. And he was explaining to us in a meeting early, just so we would introduce ourselves to more of the track people. Um, and he was saying, I think this year we're going to have to be more than 1% better. And that can look different for everybody. I think in terms of the distance girls and the cross country team itself, I think it'll be taking what we learned last year and really getting nitpicky with it. So, for example, if I know that I need 8 hours of sleep or more, being really aware of that and having plans to make sure that that's accomplished, etc. I think it's also fun too, just because this is the first year that we're going to have 18 teams. Like, that's crazy. We've never seen anything like that. It's almost going to feel like it's a little nationals, just because I know that the talent on those new teams, as well as what the Big Ten has, people are just going to get faster and faster. And it's going to be so cool to be a part of that, at least this first year.
Especially on the women's side too, when you look at Oregon and Washington, who are both ranked top 5 nationally in the country. What do you think teams like that will really do for the Big Ten moving forward?
I think it'll be in a way of pushing people. You know, it comes down to the simplest matter of pushing people. If you put fast people in a race with people that are determined enough to go chase them, it will happen. And I think it'll be really exciting to have those people in those races and have that push to go get them, or they will push each other as well. Um, I think that will probably be the most exciting piece of it, as well as almost like those teams will be like, oh no, we have to look out for people, or we have to look out for them. And I think that's just really exciting, just given that it's been the same this whole time. Like, at least in my experience, I've been here, I'm going into 5 years now. So it's looked the same this whole time, but it'll be cool to have those new teams. And I've run with some of those girls at like regionals, for example, and I've seen what they can do. And some of them are Olympians. So I think just having that knowledge will not only inspire people to do better, but will really drive them to be better.
Now I know this weekend it's only going to have you and Ohio State are the only Big Ten teams competing this week. But this is your first opportunity to kind of really show the country what you guys are truly made of. How excited and how confident are you guys? Just to host this meet. It's a familiarity for guys, especially for you. I believe this is your fourth time running at Roy Griak. Well, if you're counting high school, it might be even more than that. But
Yeah.
like, it seems like this is going to be a really fun weekend for you guys.
Yeah, I think it'll be really exciting. Like we do have that home field advantage. Like just like you were saying, like this will be my fourth time at least doing like the 6K with college. I was like, I can close my eyes and run that course at this point. Um, so I think it'll be just really exciting to have Ohio State too. Like I know those girls from track, and I know they have wheels too. So it'll be exciting to have them and just really see what we're made of. I think this course is nice because it's not always about the speed, it's how mentally tough are you, because there's so many random hills and twists and turns that you really have to be on your toes. Um, so I think it'll be a pretty good race, and I feel pretty confident in myself and my team's ability to get the job done.
So for those that are not necessarily familiar with this course, and this will be my first opportunity ever, not only to be in Minneapolis, but to see this course, tell us a little bit about the course. What is out there? What are the ins and outs? What are the challenges? What makes it fun?
Yeah, so I would say that this is probably a hillier course than a lot of people think. It's on a golf course. So you do have like kind of different like terrain a little bit. Obviously, it's mostly on grass. I think you'll pass gravel maybe a few times, but nothing too crazy. There are, I would say, two famous hills. There's the big guy, which is the 3K hill. So that will be your most challenging. I'm not sure the exact distance of how long it is, um, but that's usually what gets people. And then there's also a quick spike up at 4K. That kind of gets people too. I would say the most fun part would be your last and your first K. So those are going to be more of that flat area, but has more winding turns. So definitely keep your eyes up on the next person because that's where you can lose people.
Now, I watched a video, I think it was from last year, and someone referred to one of the hills as the Widowmaker. Is that true?
Yes, if it really gets you by surprise, I think it could be the Widowmaker. So, but it's usually pretty good, at least if you're working with your teammates, that is the spot you want to work with them. Definitely don't get caught in no man's land at the 3K.
Definitely watch out for the Widowmaker and all the other hills throughout the race. So,
Yes.
like I said, you talk about Ohio State a little bit, but we're also bringing in some mountain school teams. Utah Valley, who is nationally ranked. Utah Valley just came off a really good meet this last week against BYU, even though BYU on paper got them by a lot, but to Utah Valley standards, they had a really good meet. When you look at a nationally ranked team coming to a Roy Griak Invitational, what does that do to kind of like get you guys all right? We really have to like dial in now for this.
Um, I mean, to your point, we know that they're a nationally ranked team, and the idea is like obviously they probably want to beat us, and we want to beat them, like any race. I think it just means more in the sense of like, okay, let's prove to ourselves that hey, like even though this is day whatever 30th of official season starting with us being at school and being all together for once, without the summer training by ourselves. I think it'll tell us who has it on the day, um, and what's going to make us better. Just because, like, it is really early, so you're going to be on the Griak course, which yes, we have the home field advantage, which other places we won't have that. So we can take that energy to help us, and I think going into this race and just making sure we're keeping notes of what we need to do better, because I like to think of it as this is like almost like a pretest or like your first big test to see like where you are. Um, and usually you obviously you want to do really well on that first test, but it usually helps to prepare you for the final exam. And that's where we want to be. That's where I want to end up. So I'm excited to see what this race ends up bringing me in terms of what can I work on.
What can you tell us about your team? Like I said, we know that this team was young last year, but who are the key individuals we should really keep an eye out for on this Friday?
Ooh, there are a bunch of people you should keep your eyes out on. I think the depth of our team has increased by so much. And we've had transfers coming in, like Nadia Phillips. She just transferred. She'll definitely be a good key player there. Zoe Dundon, she was a Big Ten champ for steeplechase. Um, I think she'll have some more wheels on the cross course now. We also have Charlotte Lang. She's been having a great season. Izzy Romer has been killing it this summer. We've been training together. And she's been dropping me on workouts, so I'm excited to see what she does. And then, of course, you have your Allie Weimer, Emma Atkinson, Bree Brewster. Um, like those girls will always show up and get the job done. So, plus we have Izzy Schmitz, who's the freshman. Um, she will kill it. I know she's going to kill it. So, like with so many people being around each other, I think it'll be more exciting to have like almost like a wolf pack moving together. Um, and those are
Gopher
the
pack,
girls
if you will.
yes, or a gopher pack, if you will. Yes.
But that would think I was like, I'm not thinking wolf pack. I'm thinking just a bunch of gophers. Maybe that's just me.
Yes. Yes. I
So,
will hopefully, I don't know what colors we're wearing yet. The captains are going to decide that soon, but hopefully you'll see a big blob of either maroon or gold.
and again, for you, like I said, this is your fourth time you're going to be competing as, and what I would assume, and you never know with the eligibility because of COVID and everything, is this going to be the last time for you?
This will be the last time for me, yeah.
Has that, I mean, I know it hasn't happened yet, but like, has that kind of come to terms? Have you come to terms with that yet?
I'm a super sentimental person, so don't be surprised if there's tears after the race. Like I promise I'm hopefully not hurt, knock on wood there, but it's probably because I'm reminiscing about just how much I love being a Gopher and being a part of this team and having those 4 years to be with them. So it definitely hasn't hit me, but now that you say it, I'll shed a tear.
Sorry about that, that I have to, well, we
No,
could change that, obviously.
no, it's okay. I definitely love being a Gopher, and it'll mean so much to me to have that last shot of doing really well here. So
So, I guess for you, what for your terms, like what would be the best outcome for you? Because I mean, obviously, I can go look back and like look at see what you've done in the past, but like, do you feel like this year could be your best opportunity to do the best you ever done at Roy Griak?
yeah, I sure hope so. Just given how much, like you were saying, like how much experience I know about this course and how well training has gone recently, and just being that it is the last one, I think that gives me a little chip of like, yeah, get up and go. You really want to make a good impression since it's the last one. I think at least in the way that I think about it in terms of like team outcomes, um, which would make me happier. Obviously, we would love to win the meet. I think that would be super stellar. I've been on the team here where we've won it, and the energy was just immaculate. So I'd love to be at that finish line again, celebrating. Um, but if not, then at least top three, to make sure that we're in that good spot and we know what we're doing. Just given how much benefit we have being at home.
Well, and a win could obviously do you guys big help down the road when it comes to points as well. So really, this is going to be
Exactly.
a very important meet for you guys.
Yes. So definitely we know that and we're ready for it and we're excited to see what happens.
Well, as they say on the football team, I think the Gophers are going to row the boat and get things going there. I was going to say a PJ Fleck thing. That was going to happen at
Oh
some point. So,
yeah. Yep.
but awesome, Erin. I really appreciate your time again. The 38th annual Roy Griak Invitational this Friday on runnerspace.com. The first race kicks off at 10 a.m. Central Time, and that'll be the men's, followed by the women's, which you will see Erin Reidy and the Lady Gophers get after it in that 6K race on the golf course. Erin, again, really appreciate your time. Wish you nothing but the best this week, but also for the rest of the season.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.